Subway famous $5 footlongs. So many sublicious choices, like the Delicioso Spicy Italian. And when you enjoy any regular footlong, order one of the many Subway $1 footlong sidekicks, like 21-ounce drinks and tasty sides, just $1 each or less. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
All right, it's the BS Report preview for the NBA playoffs. I'm going to call my buddy Joe House at work, the biggest basketball fan I know other than myself, and we're going to break down all the first-round matchups and also try to figure out who's going to make the NBA Finals and who's going to win. He's at work. We're calling him on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Here we go.
Joe House.
What's happening?
What is happening?
We're on the pod. We just started rolling.
All right.
Taping this on a Thursday. I just had Sean Grandy on, the Celtics play-by-play guy. We're going to run that on Thursday. We're going to run this playoff podcast on a Friday. So hopefully nothing will change on the level of Kevin Garnett missing the playoffs probably. It's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah. What do you think? Can we beat Orlando without him?
Are you positive you're going to be playing Orlando?
I'm not positive, no. Here's my thing with the Chicago series. Vinny Del Negro.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to rest my hat.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I have to confess, I really didn't see this resurgence of the Bulls coming.
Who did?
And I don't even think I have a real good sense as to where it came from.
Or where it's going, because, you know, this was a team that I was convinced was going to beat Orlando in round one. And last night they lay a complete stink bomb at home against Toronto with the 6th seed on the line. So now that makes me think, well, what do we have with this Bulls team?
Yeah, right.
Where is this going? I don't know.
The weird thing is, you know, I still have just a basic problem thinking that the addition of John Salmons and Brad Miller makes this team a team that wins in the first round of the playoffs. Is that like what I'm supposed to believe?
I mean, that's what you're supposed to believe. The thing with Salmons, though, and is it Salmons or it's Salmons? I want to call him Salmons, and I'm just going to call him Salmons. You're not going to stop me.
You know I call these guys whatever I want to call them.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing with him is that when you put him and Gordon together, it seems like one of those guys is always hot. And I've watched him just because I love watching Rose.
I know, right, exactly.
He's shown a lot of, I got to say, he's shown a little bit of the fire and the swagger that I needed to see from him going down the stretch. He was yelling at the crowd now and stuff. Like the first couple of months I compared him to a deaf mute in the way that he carried himself, where he just did not even interact with anybody. And now he's at least carrying himself like a point guard, which makes them dangerous in my opinion.
Yeah. I support the deaf mute, by the way, for rookies coming in the first few months. You know who else was a deaf mute last year?
Who?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he was.
He barely made eye contact with anybody.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. You go from being a college guy to being on this NBA team in front of however many people.
So the great ones, you know, sort of ease their way in, get a little bit of confidence, see what the whole thing's about, and then start getting it up.
Yeah.
Because now Durant's, you know.
You know, I got to say, I'd like to give a negative shout-out out to the Caribbean websites because none of them have the series prices right now as we're doing this.
Oh.
Which is really, really, really a shame.
Yeah, the brackets are all set. What's the problem?
Get those things up right away.
Exactly.
I'm going to check a couple more while we're talking, but let's talk about our performance with over-unders.
Yeah, that's good because I thought that I might be on podcast probation after that horrendous NCAA bracket.
Yeah, but you know, okay, as we both talked about after, college basketball is a crapshoot, and the Ty Lawson thing wasn't fair because it seemed like he was really hurt, and as it turned out, he was totally fine, and anybody would have picked them if they knew he was totally fine.
That's true.
I think.
Yeah.
But for basketball, I do have some series prices, courtesy of PinnacleSports.com. Let's go with them. They sound reputable.
Yeah.
But before we do that, our NBA over-unders at the start of the year, and you can find this podcast It was I think we did it end of October, early November.
Yeah.
I'd send you right to it, but my producer Joe Mead still hasn't finished the archive page that he started 4 months ago.
Hey, go on ESPN.com, type in Joe House, search Joe House, and you'll get all the Joe House podcasts.
Wow. Do I get any nude pictures?
I don't think we have those on ESPN.com anymore.
But Joe, seriously, thanks for killing yourself with that archive
Absolutely.
page. By the way, House, Joe Mead is injured. He's playing hurt right now. He has an injured knee.
What happened?
I was screwing around playing soccer, and I...
See?
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's what happens when you play soccer. Things happen.
Things happen.
Things happen. You deserved it. Well, so what's wrong with the knee, Joe?
Well, I had an MRI this morning. I'm not a doctor, and I haven't looked at the films, but I think it's a torn MCL.
Oh.
From how it feels.
Will you be back for the Orlando series? Oh, wait, I'm getting my injured knees confused.
That was a little better than the torn ACL, right?
Yeah. The last time I did this, it was a partially torn ACL, and that took about 7-8 months.
Oh, no. Was that soccer also?
It was. It was like
Seriously?
the same exact injury.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe. Stop playing soccer.
Right.
Soccer is a sport for
6-year-olds.
Yeah. It's for 6-year-olds who run around in a field.
All right.
Joe, at least now that you have a torn ACL and an MCL, you are now eligible for the WNBA draft in 2010.
Looking forward to it.
Congratulations. All right, back to our over...
Is there going to be a WNBA in 2000? Okay, I'll stop.
No, there won't. This was probably the last year.
Right.
So our over-unders, which you can find if you search for Joe House on ESPN.com, by all means, why wouldn't you? So we went head-to-head on 7.
6.
No, I have 7.
I have 6.
We went Boston, L.A., Philly, Charlotte, Cleveland, Hornets, and Sacramento.
Those were our locks.
Oh, those were our locks. I'm sorry, you're right. And we went 5-2 on our locks.
5-2 on the locks.
If freaking Tyson Chandler didn't get hurt and miss basically the last 2 months, we would have gone 6-1.
You know what we give out?
The FU award to Tyson Chandler?
No, Bill. We give out winners.
Yeah, that's true.
We give out winners.
We had Boston 55.5 over, Lakers 55.5 over, Philly 48.5 under. And if you listen to the podcast, we belittled that over-under for like 3-4 minutes, how stupid it was. Charlotte 35.5 under. We barely got that one.
Yeah, that was a last night loss.
And then the one that we said was the lock of the year that you said you were going to go to Vegas and bet your mortgage on, Cleveland 47.5. We both said that we would have bet that if it was 57.5, and we would have won.
Yeah.
The two we lost, Hornets 51.5 over. And then for God knows why we did this, but we picked Sacramento 27.5.
I don't know.
We picked over. Why did we pick a Reggie Theus team over?
That's exactly right.
That should not have been a lock. Reggie Lewis, you don't want to put your locks with Reggie Theus. So then we disagreed on Houston, which came in last night under by a half game. I won that.
You did.
Miami, we had a nice argument about. I was going way over. I won that.
You did.
And you disgraced yourself. And then Minnesota 32.5. I said under. You said over. I won that.
That was sentimental. And by the way, that was kind of looking not half bad in January.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And then Knicks 32.5. I barely won that thanks to the Knicks collapse down the stretch. I won by a half game.
Come on, Mike D'Antoni.
You won these two. You won Atlanta over 37.5. Nice. And Memphis somehow got you the over, like in the last couple of days. Yeah,
couple wins.
Them. So we went 4-2, and you owe me, what kind of dinner did we say?
I think Peking duck.
Oh, you have to send me a Peking duck.
No, you're going to come here, and I'm going to take you out to the place.
Yeah, I'm going to come to a Nats game. I want to see Steven Strasburg. He sounds like a director.
You're going to have to wait till next year for that, though.
No, I'm going to have to wait until, what day's the Major League Draft? No, I'm going to have to wait for 2 days after the Major League Draft and then bring him right up. He throws 102.
That makes him immediately the best pitcher here.
All right, you're limited on time, so let's go through the East.
Thank you.
Cleveland Cavaliers, minus 3,000 to win round 1 against the Detroit Pistons.
Wow. If only I had $3,000
to win 100.
To win 100, minus 3,000. That's like almost off the board, isn't it?
It's absurd. Yeah, right. it's stupid.
Do we need to talk about it?
Well, we do, because here's what I want to see from the Cavs against this dysfunctionally messed up Pistons team that Joe Dumars has ruined with that Iverson salary dump trade, and everybody is still giving him back rubs about it.
Yep.
And really, they could have won 55 games if they had just kept Billups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he killed their chances to win this season. And if you look at the landscape, that team conceivably might have been able to do okay in the playoffs. But whatever.
Yeah.
He's Joe Dietmar. We're not allowed to question him.
Well, look, I mean, it's a salary dump, though. This is an era of salary dump.
Fine, but they gave away their season.
They did. That's right. That was the bargain.
I want to see the Cavs. I want to see them win in 4. I want to see it lay the smackdown sweep from them. Am I going to get that?
I don't see any reason why not. I'm trying to think of the scenario under which Detroit wins. Because, Cleveland plays quite well in Detroit.
Yes.
They get up for it.
Yep.
So it feels lazy to say Cleveland in 5. But I prefer Cleveland in 4. I want to see Cleveland in 4.
The one thing is that LeBron has kind of established now that he's kind of in Tayshaun's head at this point.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Sure.
He's done it to him a few times now.
Yeah.
And for Detroit, I think to win one of those 2 home games, it would involve 2 things. It would involve LeBron having a bad game, but more importantly, all of the shooters that he has just stink in the bed. Not inconceivable.
Not inconceivable. So maybe like a pride win for Detroit? One last pride win?
Maybe game 3 or game 4, they get like the 35-20 free throw advantage. Let's make a pick. 4 or 5?
I'm going to say 4.
I agree. I think this Cavs team looks hungry.
Me too.
I'm going to say 4.
They got lots to prove.
You want to guess the Bulls-Celtics money line?
Ooh, I do. I'm going to say Celts minus 160.
Oh, you're way off.
Oh.
You're terrible at this. I should have got Sal.
Yeah.
Celtics, this is courtesy of PinnacleSports.com. Who knows? But Celts minus 620.
Oh.
That's a little high.
Come on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little high.
Come on. Does Pinnacle know that Kevin Garnett's not playing? Yeah, I'm bad at this because Pinnacle has a preposterous number up there.
The Celtics odds have, according to another website, sportsbetting.com. Joe Mead, can we talk about these websites, or are we not allowed?
I think you can go for it. I mean,
Okay, thanks for your support.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, go for it, and they might tell us afterwards that we have to bleep everything.
Exactly.
Damn it.
I can cut them out,
Yeah, I don't want to cut them out. Let's give these Caribbean websites their due. Sportsbetting.com has the Celtics at 5-1 odds to win the finals, and those were like 2-1 a couple weeks ago. Anyway, I think 6.
Celts in 6.
In a tough series, I think maybe even you see the Bulls win one of the first 2. Maybe it's even tied 2-2 going into Game 5, something like that. Much tougher series than maybe people expect from the Bulls, the young Bulls team.
I like Celts in 6. Is that what you just said, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6. I like Celts in 6. That seems like the right number.
3-2, everybody kind of thinking there's going to be a Game 7, and then Pierce just laying the smackdown in Game 6.
Yeah, I watched the Celts-Philly game, and PP's just not having it. You know what I mean?
He's not.
He's just not having it.
Grandy and I talked about that. He had no reason to play. He played specifically because they might have ended up playing the Sixers in round 1, and he wanted to send a message, and he outplayed Andre Iguodala and won the game.
And, my favorite part of that whole game was him cursing out the team at the beginning of the second half, and the excellent camera work, I guess, by TNT Tuesday night, I guess it was, where they had Gabe Pruitt, who looked like he was sort of, in the background, and he thought it was kind of funny, and then all of a sudden you could tell it got serious, and he immediately snapped to attention.
Yeah. There's some good veterans on the Celtics team. It'll be interesting to see if KG, because apparently he gets so hyped up when he doesn't play that it's actually not a good thing for him to be in the sidelines.
Yeah.
He could be potentially not constructive.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if they just have to keep him in the locker room, because he's a maniac.
Yeah, he is a maniac.
So we'll say Celts in 6. And unfortunately, we don't have the odds for that, but I like that one as well. Orlando, Philly. God, what a crap series that is. Ugh.
The East has one crap series every year.
And here it is.
That's right. Each year, the last handful of years, has been one, and it always seems to involve one of these teams.
Yeah.
Wasn't last year's Orlando Detroit?
I think the worst thing about this series, I'd be fine with it. Well, I wouldn't be fine with it because Philly's just terrible.
Yeah.
But two bad crowds.
Yeah, right.
Orlando's crowd sucks, and Philly's crowd is worse. Like you could ostensibly have 5,000 of your own fans at a Philly playoff game, which Orlando won't because they don't have 5,000 fans total. But
I wonder if what happened here in Washington is the same thing as in Philly, because you remember back in the day, Philly used to have crazy crowds for hoops.
Yeah, but
crowds.
It was like the current Warriors crowd, very urban. Nice mixed blend of people. But, even back then, they didn't sell out of some of those Celtic playoff games.
Oh, okay.
But I agree with you that the spirit of the crowd was much better. They had better announcer. Dave Zinkoff was the announcer.
Right. That's right.
Now it's like new arena.
Who are the fans? Who goes to those?
I don't know. I mean, they have the Eagles and the Phillies, I think, are just so far more important. And even the Flyers.
Sure, yeah.
Sixers are a distant fourth. It's going to be an awful series, and I'm going to try to watch as little of it as I can. But, here's the thing, though. If Turkoglu's hurt, maybe that goes 7?
Is he hurt?
Yeah, he's hurt. He hurt his ankle last week.
I mean, I know that he didn't play, and I'm right. But is it hurt? That's what I meant to ask.
Really sprained it.
Huh.
And he was already slow anyway.
So if he doesn't play, I like the Magic in 6.
I'm going to say 5 only because I think Philly just bites.
Okay.
No offense to the Philly fans, but I think they know. I think they'd be the first to admit. And if Thad Young was healthy, maybe 6, but even he's a little banged up. So,
yeah.
And the last series, which, again, I'm worried about the crowds, especially the Miami crowd. But Atlanta's crowd's been a little bit more feisty lately. Either way, Miami-Atlanta, probably the most compelling matchup other than both Celtics in the East. What do you think for this?
I like the Hawks.
What do you think the odds are?
I think the odds are Atlanta minus 160.
Oh, you're getting better. Minus 137, according to PinnacleSports.com.
137? I don't even know what that means.
You have to bet 137.
I know what it means, but
it's
like 137. Why not make it 122.5?
It's pretty stupid. Oh, and by the way, I should have mentioned Orlando is minus 861 favorites over Philly.
Get off that website. I don't like that website.
And that's the only one. What do you want from me?
That's ridiculous.
So anyway,
maybe we're betting in Caribbean Krugerrands. That's why it's those numbers.
We disagree on this one.
Okay.
And I might change my mind. I might hate myself for this, but I think it's in the league's vested interest to have a Cavs-Miami round 2.
I'm nodding my head quietly, yes. I understand.
It's not in the league's vested interest to have a Cavs-Hawks round 2.
I don't know, though. Aren't the Hawks kind of a sneaky, attractive team? Didn't they show a little feistiness last year? That Boston series? That really became a compelling series, an amazing series.
LeBron versus Wade, Game 5, series tied at 2 because Wade just put in 50 and 55 in Games 3 and 4.
Yeah, so that...
Wait, what would have to happen for you not to watch Game 5?
So that is where amazing happens, right?
Oh, we got to talk about that. I love those commercials. I just think they should run constantly.
Right.
Have you seen the Manu Ginobili Tim Duncan one?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It was the play where, remember Duncan hit that 3 to kill Phoenix in Game 1?
Yes.
They have the whole play. It's like a minute long. It's Ginobili like just kind of weaving through and then firing it back to Duncan. And Duncan, it's awesome. I love those commercials. So down on them. I mean, so up with them.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're going to see 10,000 of them this weekend.
Yeah, and I'll get excited every time I hear the music.
Yeah.
I don't see any way, short of Jermaine O'Neal actually decomposing in the series, which I'm not ruling out.
Yep.
But I think they win.
The Heat.
They have the best player and they have a better coach.
See, I feel like out of just for the sake of consistency, since I disrespected Miami in the regular season, I should disrespect them in the postseason too. It's completely illogical and irrational, but at least it's consistent.
Well, here would be my counter. Dwayne Wade, I think, is playing at a level that we've only seen a couple times in the last 25 years.
Yep.
I think he would. The best comparison is probably MJ late 80s. Obviously, MJ was a little better. But he's kind of in that ballpark. And
definitely in terms of the calls he gets. And that's not a knock on him. He earns those calls.
He earns them, but he also gets them.
He earns them and gets them.
I would say this Miami team and their kind of situation is very similar to the 89 Bulls team. The year that he made the shot, whatever that was. I'll have to look this up as I'm talking. But that team was not going to lose in round one because they had him.
Yeah.
And I think this current Miami team, I just find it hard to believe that Dwayne Wade is going to lose to a team like Atlanta.
I kind of like that analogy. That is kind of a good analogy.
Thank you.
I'm not. I just have this very vivid recall of how well Atlanta played in the playoffs last year. And I don't know what got into them, but I like how deep they are.
Yeah, they are a little deep. Yeah, it was 89. The Bulls beat the Cavs in round one, and then they also beat the Knicks in round two. Not a great Bulls team. I mean, they had a very young Scotty.
Right.
They had. Did they still have Oak at that point? I'm looking. No, they'd made so they had Cartwright, very young Horace Grant, young John Paxson. That's about it. So actually, that's not a terrible team.
No.
Let me see.
But still, they weren't there yet. They hadn't got their chops.
No. Let me see what they did in '88. Hold on. 88. Oh yeah, they won in '88 too. So there you go. That's a nice analogy. They beat the Cavs in 5 in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's what I'm seeing for Dwayne Wade. I just think he has that level that only the great guys have. And maybe he can't hit it as consistently as LeBron does, but in a 7-game series, he'll hit it 2 or 3, maybe even 4 times.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to stick with the Hawks, but I completely understand where you're coming from, and I'm going to enjoy very much watching D. Wade against this Atlanta team.
Thank you.
I'm just going to stick with Atlanta, though.
I'm going to say one thing, though. I think this is a stay away from a gambling standpoint.
Oh, my word, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm making a pick just to make a pick, but this is the one series I would completely stay away from, and I would urge all of you to do as well.
What's the line?
The line is Atlanta minus 137,
oh, this is
plus
the one.
122.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just think.
Yeah, this is definitely a stay away.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Atlanta's capable of. I'm not sure how bad Miami's supporting cast is. It's unclear.
This is part of why I love the NBA playoffs. We don't know yet what sort of narrative's going to get written. What's the story here?
Yeah.
Who's going to step up?
You're not going wrong with any Heat-Hawks game that you watch in this series.
That's
if you're
right.
a casual basketball fan, Bulls, Celtics, and Heat-Hawks, I think, are the two. All right, going to the West. I gotta say this Lakers line is a little high. As much as I'm not happy with this Jazz team, Lakers favored by minus 1,600.
Whoa.
When you think about the advantage that Utah has at point guard, and it cannot be emphasized enough, it's gigantic.
Right. Gigantic.
That line's too high.
What's Utah getting?
So Utah, you bet 100, you win 1,000.
So they're plus 1,000?
Plus 1050.
Plus 1050.
Yeah, it's a little high.
God, that's almost worth it. I'd like to throw $50 at that.
They're pretty messed up, though. Boozer's playing like crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely...
Here's the thing. They're not going to get out-coached.
Right.
And point guard matters in the playoffs.
Yep.
They're deep. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe they're not deep enough.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to do it, here would be my suggestion. I think you would team them up, put them in a 3-team parlay. Like take the Jazz plus 1,000.
Yeah.
Put that with Orlando minus 860 and the Celtics minus 620. Maybe bump those odds up to like plus 1,500. Then I think it's worth it. Because who knows? Kobe might get hurt. Who knows what the hell happened.
What's the story on Bynum? Are they going to try to bring him in for this series?
Yeah, well, he's played like 2 games. They've been reacclimating him, but I don't know what they're expecting from him in the playoffs. The other thing to remember with Utah is that they have an awesome home court advantage.
That's
They're
exact.
the meanest fans in the league, and if you put bad refs in Utah, those refs are going to fold. So, at the very least, I think this goes 6. I'm going to say LA in 6.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's a reason the Lakers are 1 and there's a reason that the Jazz are 8, but I don't. That's not a normal 1-8 matchup to me.
No. And that line is too high.
Yeah.
And maybe it's high partly because people always overvalue the Lakers. There's always a lot of LA money. But the next series, almost even odds, Dallas and San Antonio.
Well, and with good reason. So when I looked at this and thought about it, you know, I the number of times I wanted to put a fork in San Antonio, or I've been prepared to put a fork in, not wanted to, but been prepared to, and they just proved me wrong. It feels like a familiar trap, you know. But this has to be it, doesn't it? I mean, they're so banged up.
Looks like the last stand.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I will say though that this is the ideal first round matchup for them.
For San Antonio.
Who is going to cover Tony Parker on the Dallas Mavericks?
Nobody.
Jose Juan Carlos Barea?
JJCB?
I don't see him doing it.
No.
Jason Kidd, you know, he's basically, they try to have him cover shooting guards if they can.
Yeah, well, sure. So I guess Jason Terry runs it, but that's preposterous.
Jason Terry against,
right.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it.
That's not going to work. I will say, though, these two teams have always played tough series. And if you remember, in 2006, Dallas won a Game 7 in San Antonio.
They did that. And to Dirk's credit, that was one of his big ones.
I got to say,
the series was tied this year.
I got to say, I can't believe I'm saying this. Well, I see, this is another stay away. In my mind, this is like Atlanta, Miami. I think it'd be dumb to bet this either way.
Right.
But at gunpoint, I would pick Dallas.
I'm picking Dallas, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Dallas in 7.
I liked what I saw them last night. I saw from them last night.
Me
I watched that
too.
entire Dallas-Houston game.
Yes, so did I.
Yeah, Jason Terry's got a little something this year.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Like, he's got a killer instinct that I certainly don't remember him having before, but almost borderline unstoppable at times.
Is he winning Six-Man of the Year
absolutely.
Award? Yeah, he deserves it.
And, you know, maybe just let Parker get his 30.
So is it, you know, I'm going to pick Dallas, but I'll be, you know, it'll be a familiar feeling for picking against San Antonio if they win.
I will say the one thing in the defense of the Kidd trade is that the team chemistry on this particular Mavericks team seems really good to me.
It just came together, it feels like, in the last since New Year's. Really, since Cuban went downstairs into the locker room after one of those horrendous efforts, I guess, against the team that cannot be named.
Yeah, I think it's a recent thing. It's in the last 3-4 weeks. But
he went down there and said, "I'll send all of you home."
Yeah,
and then they came together. Because last night they looked awesome.
I hate picking against Duncan, but he does not look great to me, and I just think he has a lot of miles on him, and I think he's worn out. And for San Antonio to win this particular series would require a huge, huge energy commitment on his part. You know, we're talking old school Timmy of 25 points, 17 rebounds in the 4 wins, and I don't think he has it in him.
I agree. He just looks so beat up. Yeah. It's a little heartbreaking, but
also, as much as I love Roger Mason, it's a whole other ballgame playing for the Wiz and being the regular season guy versus actually, hey Roger, it's Game 5 of the playoffs, and we're diagramming this last play for you.
Oh, I know all about it. He was on the Wizards in the playoffs last year when they got drummed pretty good by Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to say Dallas at 6. What do you think?
Dallas in 6. That's what I think too. No, I said in 7. I like them in 7. I just think the Spurs they're not going to go out.
Okay.
Easy.
New Orleans, Denver. Denver minus 200 favorites.
Did you watch any of that Denver-Portland game last night?
Yeah, but got feisty.
How about that Kmart dunk? Where did that come from?
That was unbelievable.
I almost called you.
Yeah.
I don't want to know the answer to this. I mean, frankly, I kind of hope it's true, but, is there HGH in the NBA? I mean...
I've asked people in the know about this stuff, and they said that it really wouldn't have a lot of benefits.
Really? Did you see him get up last night? He was up. He wasn't just up. Did you see how far away from the basket he was?
I think
it was
I don't see it.
I loved it. I don't care what the answer is about, whether it was enhanced or not enhanced. It was an awesome dunk, and I encourage whatever it took for him to perform that play. I fully support it. I would like more of them, please.
I'm going to say, well, here are the telltale signs. Supposedly, you look at the person's teeth. If they start getting the piano teeth? No, seriously.
Well, no, I'm saying, but how can you tell from Kmart's teeth?
Well, wait till he smiles. If he's got piano teeth, maybe something's up.
All right.
And then you look at the skull. Look at the top of the cranium over the eyes.
And what are you
starts
supposed
going
to
over
see?
the eyes a little. You're supposed to see a skull that goes over the eyes a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of Cro-Magnon.
We call that the Barry Bonds skull? Is that what we're looking for?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
Anyway, I hate this series, and I urge everybody not to bet on it because I have no idea what's going to happen.
That's what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I listened to your podcast with Stein and Bucher from Monday, and who could have seen this Nuggets thing coming the way it did? Chauncey Billups made he made the team, he made the season, he imposed discipline and structure where none existed. He took the crazy and made it sane.
I'm with you.
He should have a show, the Dr. Chauncey Show. He's better than Dr. Phil.
The only thing is, like even watching them last night, the seeds of self-destruction are just always there.
Always.
Like, I remember they got a rebound last night. This is when the game was starting to slip away. And went back to J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
And he took one of the most horrendous threes. It was like 18 seconds left in the shot clock. It was just horrible. It was one of those shots that if you did it in pickup game, everybody would get mad at you.
Yeah, right.
And
I'm familiar.
Yeah, you've taken a few of them. I just wasn't. There's a vibe with them that I'm not crazy about. And Bucher and Stein talked about it. Like, they have so many knuckleheads in that team.
Yeah, none of that's changed, right? It's the exact same crazy knucklehead, irrational team, except for they exchange AI for Chauncey, which is a pretty big exchange on that count.
But
still, there's a whole bunch of it.
I also think Chauncey has slipped noticeably defensively. He's a little reminiscent of what started happening to Kidd in the middle of the decade.
I'm not going to argue that, but it's not like I ever thought, in these last couple of Detroit runs that Chauncey's been a lockdown defender. He's not the reason. I mean, he's been an excellent sort of team defender in my humble estimate.
Rondo did a nice job on him in a couple of the games in the second rounds or in the Eastern Finals last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a chance in hell of guarding Chris Paul.
Not
a chance.
No, I can't even imagine that's the scheme. I mean, you can't guard him.
Yeah, but this Denver team, they're not a great team defensive type team. Yeah. Not a great help team.
Yeah.
So it just seems to me.
Well, who else can score from New Orleans? I mean, that's the big thing, right?
Well, the big thing is we need to make sure Tyson Chandler's healthy.
Yeah, right.
And back and okay.
Yeah. It's a good reason to stay away.
It's a stay away, but I do like the Hornets a little at plus 170. I think that's a strong underdog bet.
I like that too. That's a nice one.
This series should be even, in my opinion.
I agree. It is. It has even written all over it. Even Steven.
You always want to have the best guy in a series if you're betting.
And
Chris Paul is the best guy in the series.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final one. This series is great.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Yeah.
I'm torn on this because I'm friends with Daryl Morey, the Rockets GM.
Yep.
Tried to keep it secret until Buke outed us. But Portland I enjoy watching really more than any other team other than the Celtics. And maybe the team that shall not be named, just because of my man crush on Durant. But I really like Portland. I love their fans. I love the way their fans have handled, everything and come back. And the credit really has to go to the fans for this, because when you look at what happened with the whole Jailblazers thing, and the fans just said, you know what, we're not rooting for guys like this anymore. Bring us good guys, and we'll come back.
Right.
And they did that, and the fans came back, and that's a nice job by them.
Well, and you got to give some credit to the franchise too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They listened and they acted accordingly.
It was
really
a nice
transformed the thing in a very short period of time.
Yes, it was a nice combination of a smart organization and a fan base that just would not accept bad guys in the team anymore. They just said, we've had it. And now they're here. And I think I've fully talked myself into the Buke theory that this is the best team in the West other than LA. I got to say, watch that Houston game last night. You watched it, right?
Yes.
So Houston has to win that game.
Right.
Fourth quarter, Dallas starts coming on. Terry starts making shots. Tie game, 6 minutes left. Houston didn't have anywhere to go.
That's the problem. That is exactly the problem.
They didn't have a creator on that team. And this is where, I think they are going to miss T-Mac. They didn't have that guy who was like, call me the play, I'm fine. It was like they're forcing it into Yao. You can easily get the ball away from him. And then it was just basically Ron Artest jacking up bad shots.
That's right. They don't have any other option.
No.
That's it. It's those two. That is precisely. It's in this very circumstance that T-Mac, if T-Mac had set out 3/4 of the beginning of the season and then came back, sort of healthy for the last quarter and then was ready for this series, then it would be a different story altogether. Because right now, in this instance, is where he would be most, useful to them.
I think this is the perfect matchup for Portland. If I'm Portland, this is the team I would have wanted to play. They have two guys and 12 fouls to throw at Yao. They could just bang him.
Yep.
Brandon Roy is going to be the best player in the series.
I think that too.
They're going against a team that doesn't have point guards that can necessarily beat them. You're talking Aaron Brooks is going to have like a monster series in this series, I think, for Houston to really kind of stay in it. And it's possible.
It's possible, right?
Steve Blake can't guard anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
But man, Portland's deep. They look hungry. They're going to have Game 7 at home.
That's the big thing to me. I mean, that's really, I think it's like it's a Portland in 7 kind of vibe to me.
I agree.
And I hate, it's for, and I don't even know Daryl, but Houston's got to come out of the first round some year.
To me, out of anybody in round 1, Yao Ming is the most compelling figure.
Interesting.
Because I think he has the most at stake for if this team loses again. And now he's clearly the guy. And if he has a monster series, that gives him the best chance to win. And if it doesn't happen, I just don't think it's going to happen with him.
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
Right?
He's at the point. I wrote in my MVP column. I said, he's 2010, 2 blocks a game. That is who he is. And people were like, hey, what's wrong with that? Here's what's wrong with it. This was a guy that everybody thought was going to be the best player in the league.
Right. And
he's a guy who gives you a 20-10, and at the end of the game, as we saw last night, you could just basically take him out of it.
That's the big problem. It's the end of the game thing.
Yeah.
These playoff games, you need to have an answer to that question. Who's going to touch the ball in the last 2 minutes? I mean, that's the weird thing with Orlando, right? It's not Dwight Howard. The guy who touches the ball in the last 2 minutes when they absolutely have to score is Okur.
Yeah. Not Okur.
Right. The other.
Hidu.
Right.
You got your Turkish guy screwed up. You get a turkey brain fart.
I'm running it through my head.
You know why? Because it was turkey, and turkey's a food. Anytime food's involved, you get thrown out.
That's right.
Hey, Joe Mead, play the Joe House thing again. Do you have that queued up?
I'm looking for it.
Okay, no, I don't.
Yeah, no, it'll be funny. I'm going to go one further. I'm going to say Portland in 5.
Whoa! Portland in 5?
Portland in 5.
That's aggressive.
It's aggressive, and I believe it.
So that's hating a little bit on. I respect Artest and Battier.
It's not hating on anything. I just think the playoffs, especially the West this season, is a rock paper scissors type thing, and I just think this is a bad matchup for Houston.
Okay.
I think they would have beaten a couple of the other teams. I think they could have beaten Denver. I think they could have beaten New Orleans.
I think they could beat Dallas, even though
they definitely. Yeah, I think they would have with a Game 7 at home. Maybe they beat Dallas.
Yeah.
I think they could have beaten San Antonio. Portland, I don't think they're beating if they don't have the Game 7 at home.
12-inch double meat is my thing. Really tears the butt out of me. What?
Whoa! Let's hear that again.
No. 12-inch double meat is my thing. Really tears the butt out of me.
Wow.
Come on.
Oh, my God, Joe House.
Is that necessary?
Joe House.
Wait till you have this Peking duck that I owe you. This is my favorite bet to lose ever, perhaps.
Well, let's figure out. The league always rigs it so that there are definitely 2 7-game series.
Yeah.
I'm going to say in the East, Miami Atlanta goes 7.
That's the one I'm looking right at as well.
I'm going to change my pick on that and say Miami wins in 7.
Okay.
Just because I can't think of another 7-game series in the East.
Okay.
And then in the West, I might have to change my pick on one of these.
I said Dallas in 7.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I'm
going to join you on that. Yeah,
isn't that what it's going to take to dethrone the dynasty, to knock the dynasty off its pedestal?
I'm going to join you on that. I will change mine to Dallas in 7. I also think New Orleans, Denver could go 7.
Yeah, me too. Sure. Not at all inconceivable. I'm excited. It's playoff time. What's better than NBA playoff time?
Good times.
Yeah.
It makes you want to have a nice big Peking duck.
Or a 12-inch double meat.
All right, give me quickly. Orlando beats Celtics?
No.
I agree.
No,
I think Celtics.
I don't think so.
Celtics prevail. Nobody believed in us. Carries the day.
Exactly.
Cleveland does beat the Celtics.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That could be a fight.
Cleveland could just take a big fat marker and write it in. Cleveland and LA in the finals.
Ugh. LA Portland Western Finals?
I don't think this year. I don't think Portland's got it in them this year.
So who do you have then?
Well, I have to look at the bracket so I don't say something preposterous. Who would they play?
Well, Denver's 2, and Portland is 3, and Dallas and San Antonio. Oh no, Joe Mead, is Dallas San Antonio 4-5 or 3-6?
3-6. 3-6. I'm looking at it. So it'll be if Dallas beats San Antonio and whichever Denver New Orleans winner, that would be like Dallas Denver or Dallas New Orleans.
Oh man, see that Denver New Orleans thing's gonna screw everything up.
Yeah.
Because if New Orleans beats Denver, then they have to reseed, don't they?
Oh, that's right. They're reseeded in the NBA.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's gonna screw everything up.
I can't figure it out. It's too complicated for me.
All right, team with the best chance to make the Western Finals then. Because if Portland's 4-5, then that means they play Lakers in round 2, and they're not getting past them. Actually, I don't know if they reseed. Do they reseed, Joe Mead? I feel like I should know this, being one of the biggest NBA fans on the planet. But I was
sure you've written highly critical columns about this before.
Yeah, the NBA does not reseed teams.
Yeah. Kevin Winter in the other room tells me the NHL reseeds after the first round, but not the NBA.
Right. I should have known that. I apologize to the BS Report listeners for not knowing that. But I got confused with the NFL. So Portland has to play LA in round 2.
You know what's crazy? You know who I'm going to say? New Orleans. That's the team with the best shot at being in the finals.
So New Orleans would beat Denver?
Yep.
And then they'd have to beat Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, that could happen.
Right.
I think I'm with you.
In fact, I'd like to see the odds on that. What are the odds on New Orleans in the Western Finals?
Well, let me check. Let me check Tyson Chandler news update.
Well, that's it, right?
Oh no, that was. Oh, here's a story that says hobbled Hornets ready for playoff run.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's coming back at least. He's a tough guy, Tyson Chandler. He's from the streets, of L.A. He'll fight back. So. What?
Nothing.
He's from the mean streets, of L.A.
Yeah.
So New Orleans is 40-1 to win the NBA title.
Well, I don't like them to win the NBA title. I just like them as a participant in the Western Finals.
Yeah, but if you like them to make the Western Finals, you bet on them at 40-1 and then hedge with the Lakers in the series.
I got you. I understand.
You don't like that idea?
It feels like wasted money, but I understand the hedge.
Yeah. Well, here's the bet, and unfortunately, God forbid this was on a website, but the Cavs-Lakers bet, even if it's probably drifted to like bet 200 to win 100, whatever, that's the smart bet.
Yeah, that is a smart bet.
Go to Vegas and put your house on that one. It's going to be a Cavs-Lakers finals.
It's going to be epic, too.
Who do you think wins?
Cavs.
Me too.
Yeah. It's LeBron's year. He's the MVP of the league. He's the MVP of the finals. It's his coronation. The king has arrived. And
he's the MVP of our hearts.
He is the MVP of our hearts.
No, I mean, he is a fantastic teammate, and I wrote about it in the MVP column, and I stand by it. I liked everything he's done this year.
Me too.
He's a fun guy to root for. I think he's genuine. I really like watching him play. He's done everything I've wanted him to do this year as a fan.
Me too. Me too. He's exceeded all expectations.
Yeah, I thought this might happen before the season I picked it, but you never really know. You're hoping. But
you know what? You got to give it up. The crazy thing is, to me, it all started with the Olympics. I think all that time that he spent with those guys and seeing how they prepare and the competitiveness of it.
Absolutely.
So like Dream Team 2. Dream Team 1 had a certain effect on the league, and Dream Team 2, same deal.
Well, this was Redeem Team. Dream Team 2 actually had the opposite effect. The guys all hung out together and saw how not to do things. Wait, Shaq doesn't practice? Oh, cool. Shaq doesn't lift weights? This is great. Who wants to get stoned?
I can't keep track of all these names.
Well,
Which one was
What?
Which one was the Nightmare Team? Which one was the one that we won a bunch of money on Argentina the year?
Oh, that was 2004, the Nightmare Team.
Yeah, the Nightmare Team.
Yeah,
I like that one. That was my favorite.
That was when I turned against my country and bet on Argentina.
I was thinking, ole, 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 ole.
I stand by it, too, because you know what? Stephon Marbury was our starting point guard.
I stand by it, too, because I had $700, 700 fat ones in my pocket because of it.
All right, Joe House.
Hey.
We're going to have you back during the NBA playoffs, and I'm sure you and I will talk on the phone. What do you think? 8 times this weekend?
Probably 8. Good. Over-under's 10, and, some folks are taking the under. It's probably better. We're a little older now.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you this weekend. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.